Hello, friends. Welcome to humanology 2439. Happy Thursday evening. Welcome. Good evening. Happy Thursday evening. Yeah, I did some running outside. That was a good run, and now let's do stretching. Yeah, yeah, running is always very healthy. Okay. Oh, okay. Now lower back rotation. Okay. Whew. 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 Okay. Whew. 5 minutes break. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's not too bright outside, so I guess we can keep it open. And let me get some water. Okay. So in the human rights show, we've been talking about like abnormal psychology, psychopathology, but let's move on, okay? So let's escape that department, okay? Because it's a little bit uh uncomfortable topic to talk about, but we talked about it because it's important, okay? Because it exists, okay? Yeah. Now let's move on, okay? Let's talk about some other stuff. Good evening, welcome. Welcome, good evening. Yeah, mighty proud future leaders, martial arts, education, culture development. Thank you. Good evening. And let's talk about politics just a little bit. Yeah, good evening, welcome. Yeah, martial arts, education, culture development. Mighty proud future leaders. Thank you. Let's talk about politics just a little bit, okay? So, yeah, the election result came out, and a gentleman from Petersburg in Alaska ran for U.S. Senate, and his name is same as the incumbent senator, and he made top four. It's quite surprising. In Alaska, it's jungle primary. Like regardless of party affiliation, anybody can vote for any candidate in the primary in August. Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, my future leaders. Yeah, martial arts, education, college development. Thank you. Welcome. Good evening. My future leaders. Yeah, so jungle primary is an interesting concept. Okay, I think it's a fine concept. Okay, so and then general election in November in Alaska. Yeah, top four in the elected top four in each positions. Okay, like could be U.S. senator or as a government, whatever position. Okay, in each slot, top four go to general election. Okay, so the gentleman from Petersburg made top four. Okay, which is quite surprising. Okay, but I thought he might. I did not predict that, but I thought he might, but because it's interesting candidacy. Okay, and that case, there was a lawsuit in Alaska State Court, trial court. Okay, basically like election fraud. Okay, they questioned his motivation. Did he run for? But his real name, he used his real name. Okay, so welcome. Good evening. Yeah, we're talking about Alaskan politics. Okay, yeah. Thank you for joining us. Mhm. So that gentleman, other people accused him of some uh, motivation, questions in motivation. So he went to trial court and he won. Okay. Yeah, sure. Happy birthday. Yeah, yeah. Happy birthday. Yeah, mighty proud, future leaders, martial arts, education, cross development. Okay, do good in school. And no dating until you turn 27, please. Okay, just do good in school. Okay, yeah, please. But happy birthday. Okay. Now, 5 minutes for correct. Okay, thank you. Okay, okay, okay. Happy birthday. 5 minutes. Thank you. All right, so okay, yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you, thank you. Now, yeah, Alaska politics interesting this year. Okay, so I see the news. They had international news. This candidacy from I'm not gonna name names. Okay, so the gentleman from Petersburg, Alaska. I've never been to Petersburg because it's Southeast Alaska. Okay, so I've been to Juneau, but that's about it. When it comes to Southeast Alaska, okay, because you cannot go there by driving. Okay, so Juneau, maybe I don't know through Canada. Okay, I don't. Yeah, I just flew there. Okay, and yeah, some people complained like they maybe this gentleman from Petersburg tried to confuse the voters, and so he went to trial. And then he won the trial. Okay, so and then he went to appealed. The losing party appealed to Alaska State Supreme Court, and the gentleman from Petersburg won again. Okay, now this state court system in Alaska. Okay, so he won both cases. Okay, and I agree with trial court. I agree with Alaska State Supreme Court. Okay, yeah, his motivation may could have been as suspect by some people to confuse voters. Okay, but the middle name is different. The incumbent senator and the gentleman from Petersburg. Okay, and the Alaska Division of Election made sure voters are not confused. Okay, so the like full middle name. Okay, so but he made top four, which is surprising. Okay, so now federal court is involved now. Okay, so they convened the grand jury. Okay, so now it's not no longer civil case. It was civil case in Alaska state court system. Okay, now there in federal court system, grand jurors are convened. Okay, so grand jury. What is grand jury? Okay, it's they. Okay, so now we are talking about criminal law. Okay, uh, I'm a lawyer, but my have I been to some? Have I taken some? Have I been involved in some criminal cases? Yes, I have because I've been a lawyer for past 8 years. Okay, so but very few. Okay, pro bono basis. Okay, but in the future, will I take like criminal? Will I practice like criminal law? I might in the future. Who knows? I don't know. Okay. I have very limited experience with criminal law. Okay, but because I've been lawyer for past 8 years. I know enough about it. Okay, but I did some internet research, some more the criminal procedure, criminal trial. Okay, so yeah, sure, continuing legal education. So in federal cases, both okay in general, yeah, state and federal cases, okay, uh, there varying degree of criminality. Okay, so some lesser crimes, misdemeanor, even lesser crimes, if called infraction. Okay. Most criminal cases are state cases, like state court system. Okay. Uh, but some criminal cases are federal cases that has to do with federal criminal statutes. Okay. But most cases are state level cases. Okay. Or it could be county level, city level as well. Okay. So infractions, people not could not go to jail for it. Okay. So they just fines like parking violation, like traffic tickets, like over speeding, okay, or tailgating, or parking violation, or running through red light, running, well, driving through red lights, or driving through stoplight, okay, just parking tickets with fines. Those are infractions. people do not go to jail for it. At least fourth time, but repeat offenders, they can go to jail for it. Okay, like misdemeanor. Okay, like violating like traffic law again and again and again, then it can be repeat offenders can get misdemeanor charge. Okay, misdemeanor is like up to 1 year in prison or up to $1,000 in fine. Nowadays, more than $1,000. Okay, something like $2,000, $3,000. It depends on the states. Okay, but there's some adjustment because of inflation. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so do that infraction, then misdemeanor, higher crimes, more serious crimes, felonies. Okay, maybe drinking and driving, repeat offenders. Okay, or like theft, grand theft, like stealing something expensive, like stealing cars, whatever, or offense against people's safety, felonies. Okay, so yeah, those are serious crimes, felonies. Okay, those cases mostly handled by state level. Okay, like police officers, state level prosecutors, city county level prosecutors. Okay, the district attorneys. Okay, so most crimes are handled by them. Okay, yeah, like city police officers, city level police officers. In Alaska case, like state troopers. Okay, in Texas, Texas Rangers. In Georgia, like Georgia Bureau of Investigation. That's the state level police officers. Okay, and like in county level, like a sheriff's office. Okay, yeah. City level, like in Los Angeles case, like Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. Okay. In Anchorage, Anchorage Police Department. Okay. In Wasilla, Wasilla Police Department. Okay. Yeah. So it depends on where the crime occurred. Okay. In Alaska, we have what's called incorporated cities, like city of Wasilla or city of Anchorage. Okay. But there, I live in unincorporated part of Alaska, Matsu Valley. Okay. So in those, what is incorporated city? Welcome. Good evening. We are talking about Alaska like legal system. Okay. Yeah. Good evening. Welcome. So yeah, my profit future leaders, martial arts, education, and college department. Okay. Thank you. Let's take 5 minutes break for rest. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Uh huh. Bye. Or some government system in Alaska. We're covering a lot, okay? So we are building the foundation step by step, okay? So uh, we talk about criminal law later, okay? So now it's the governmental system in Alaska or other states, but I live in Alaska, so that's what I'm familiar with, okay? So city level, that's called incorporated cities like Anchorage, Juneau, Wasilla, Fairbanks, Palmer in Alaska, okay? They have city government, okay? So to run the city government, they need to get some tax, okay? So city level typically sales tax, business tax. Well, not business tax, but sales tax, okay? Yeah, so that's how city government get money to pay their city government employees, okay? Now, county level, in Alaska, county, we call it borough, okay? So borough government, okay? Their tax is from like property tax, okay? Yeah, houses, property tax, or it could be apartment building, okay? Property tax, okay? So that's borough level tax. They pay for borough level government employees, okay? Yeah. Or projects, okay, like road maintenance, okay? How about Alaska state government? In Alaska, we do not have state level income tax, okay, because we have a lot of oil and gas. So it's basically business tax, okay. So that's Alaska state government how to make money to pay the state level employees, okay, government employees, okay, yeah. Business tax, oil and gas tax, okay. And in Alaska, we do not quite have this borough like county level sheriff's office, okay. I did suggest that when I was running for some positions. Okay, first I ran for 2020. I ran for Alaska State Senate. Okay, so I go to like borough assembly meetings to suggest that hey, why don't we have some sheriff's office? Okay, yeah, okay. Welcome. Good evening. Yeah, we talk about Alaska like governmental system. Okay, yeah, and yes, but in Alaska when there's incorporated city, they have their own city police officers like Wasilla Police Department, Anchorage Police Department, okay? Yeah, city level. Or Fairbanks Police Department, okay? But there are regions in Alaska where it's not a city, but it belongs to a borough, though, okay? And those unincorporated towns, like where I live, okay? The police officers are Alaska state troopers, okay? Last year, I was unemployed for 8 months, and I did apply to Alaska state troopers, okay? Then I withdrew my application because I was training for it alone, running. I could not pass the physical training standard, PT standard when it comes to running because I run almost every day, but slowly. Okay, Alaska State Troopers, I cannot meet their running standard. It's like something like 1.5 miles. What was it? 1.6 miles, something like that. I can run that long, but not as fast as their standard. Okay, so that's why I withdrew my application. Okay, last year. Mm, okay, but interestingly, I think it's a very good policy. Alaska State Trooper do not have any age limit. I'm 48. I was 47 last year. They don't care. They're like very open door policy, which is very cool. Hey, if you can pass the PT test, come. We don't care about your age. That was so cool. Okay, but I could not. Okay, pass the running standard. Okay, with the police officers. Okay, so they have to run after criminals. It's not just running; they're full uniform. Huh? Sometimes bulletproof jacket. Okay, which is heavy. I know because when I was in the army, when I was younger, in my 30s, yeah, we wore that sometimes bulletproof jacket. Okay, oh, those are heavy. How do we do? Well, we'll take 5 minutes break for chorus. Okay, thank you. Okay, okay, yeah. Good evening. Welcome. Okay. All right. So, oh, how do we do? Oh, yeah. It's about time. Okay. Okay. And the okay. So, Alaska State Troopers, they are the police officers for known cities, like where I live. Okay. Yeah. Because yeah, Alaska's big. Okay. So some towns have names. So other parts where I live, this part we do not have any names. So, but my home address is Wasilla because I live halfway between Big Lake and Wasilla. Okay, Big Lake is a town, but it's not incorporated. They do not have city government. Okay, but I live in a region that is closer to Wasilla. That's why my home address is Wasilla. But technically, I'm not inside of the city Wasilla city boundary. Okay, so when they like elect like Wasilla mayors or Wasilla city council, I cannot vote because there's Wasilla city boundary citizen only. I live outside of that boundary. Okay, so okay, but I belong to Matsuboro, so yeah, and all the borough level towns outside of cities, there's Alaska State Troopers. They're the police officers. Okay, okay. Hmm? And they're very cool people. Okay, yeah. Ah, fly again. All right. So let's say somebody called 911, okay? And then police officer of that jurisdiction, if it's happened in Wasilla, then Wasilla Police Department, okay? We just call 911, right? But outside of cities, we call 911, then Alaska State Troopers, okay? So after 911 dispatcher, and then come and investigate, see whether there was a crime or not. So all these police officers, it could be state troopers or city level police officers, they study criminal law in their police academy. Okay, because they need to know whether there was crime or not. What is a crime? Uh, Violation of some criminal statute. It could be city borough level codes, or it could be state level statute, criminal statutes. Okay, yeah. So they study in the police academy. Okay, also continuing education as well. Okay. Mm. And if there is probable cause that a crime happened and this person committed that crime, then they write this police report, okay, and then arrest that individual. But sometimes a criminal suspect, because by U.S. Constitution, case law, Supreme Court level, like Miranda rights, okay, or like probable cause. What is probable cause? Like about 30% possibility. Okay, so it's a low standard. Okay, to convict of somebody with crime in the court of law, 90% certainty is called like reasonable. With what's it called? Reasonable doubt. Beyond reasonable doubt, this person committed that crime. Okay, so those languages are from like U.S. federal Supreme Court level. Okay, yeah, case law. Sometimes became statutes. Okay, by legislators. Okay, yeah, lawmakers, elected officials. Okay, yeah. So yes, but U.S. Supreme Court or whatever case law. Okay, yeah, everybody's innocent before proven guilty in court of law. Oh yeah, yeah. Those languages are most likely the case law. Okay, later on became like statutes, maybe. Okay, okay, okay. So sometimes a criminal suspect flee the scene. Okay, before police officers arrive after committing crime. Okay, allegedly. Some other times police officers come and then the suspect is like running away or driving away. Okay, and they get caught sometimes. Sometimes they get away with it. So just become like suspect. They become like fugitive, basically. Okay, mm. And sometimes there are witnesses, and there has to be somebody called 911, right? But some other times, witnesses become disabled or some traumatic brain injury, so later on they cannot remember anything, or other times witnesses pass away after calling 911. Okay, so sometimes it become cold case. Some other times, yeah, there may be no witnesses, but no available witnesses, but there's some evidence, maybe some DNA evidence, right? But it's tough because let's say a crime happened in a house. There are so many DNA hanging around, right? Like sometimes, like guests of this house, tenants, former tenants, like in a house, all this hair with follicle. Sometimes guests, dogs, pets, cats. Sometimes the hair follicle with tenants, former tenants, friends, family members, guests. Okay, so forensic science, okay? So it's difficult, okay? So many cases become cold case where crime happened, but suspect ran away and time passes and like even DNA evidence, DNA can break down over time, right? And so unsolved cases, okay? But in some cases, okay, let's say suspect is running away or driving away and they get caught by police officer. Or some other times surviving witnesses, yeah, description of this person or even photograph of this person. Yeah, so wanted suspects. Okay? Maybe they get caught later on after running away. Maybe days later, weeks later. Okay? In both state level, federal level. Okay? Yeah. So they get caught sometimes. Okay? We're talking about potential criminals. Okay? I mean, there are like Alaska Boondock Saints who like live alone in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. They have very special survival skill, like hunting, fishing, trapping, wild foraging. They can survive alone in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. But criminals, they do not have that special skill, typically. So they would need to get a job, get, go to some gas station, supermarket to get some food, or maybe they steal money from people, whatever. So, but they can, mostly they cannot survive out there alone. Okay, and so many times they get caught later on. Okay, yeah. So we have to talk about criminal cases, okay? Criminal law, okay? So, okay, 5 is good. For correct, okay? Thank you. Can I continue legal education? Sure, sure, sure. All right, now let's talk crime prevention, okay? That's hugely important, okay? So it's simple, okay? Yeah, do good in school, no dating until 27, okay? Do not hang out with bad people, no drugs, don't do tattoos, don't do piercings, don't do drugs, do not do marijuana, and do good in school, stay in school, graduate, get good jobs, do not hang out with bad people, do good in school, no dating until 27, okay? Because young people, they are emotionally immature to date, to handle dating, okay? Yeah. So just do it in school, okay? because a lot of crime happens around the dating scene, okay, like jealousy, ex-boyfriend, breakup. Okay, so yeah, a lot of crimes happen around like those romantic relationships from young people. Okay, so yeah, that's why it's dangerous. They get angry, some verbal argument between two romantic partners, and it later in escalate after breakup. This angry ex-boyfriend. Okay, that's many times. There's many times young people who do dating. Okay, many times it become crimes. Okay, so that's why yeah, martial art, non martial arts, no dating until 27. Do good in school. Young people don't even date, do not even date. Okay, and until 27. Okay, so we are saying this for a good reason. Okay, so okay, yeah. Non martial arts and exercise. Okay, and be nice to people. Okay, but do not hang out with bad people. Do not be around them. Okay. Now, so let's say they have arrested this suspect. Okay, so again, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in court of law. Okay, that's the case law. Okay, so presumption of innocence. Okay, so they are not criminal yet; they are suspects. Okay, so police officer arrested this suspect. Okay, and go to jail. City jail, county jail, or state level jail, federal level jail temporarily. Okay, what's the next step? Uh, Police officers write police report, okay, and submit to a prosecutor, the district attorney. It could be city level, county level, state level, or federal level. So what's the difference between like those like more local crime versus federal crime? Federal crime is defined by federal statute. Okay, often it has to do with like interstate, like between states, like wire fraud, or that has to do with like drug trafficking, okay, like interstate drug trafficking, or like maybe kidnapping that across the state line, or a fugitive who run away between states, or like wire fraud, or what a mail fraud, okay, it could be electronic email, or it could be mail involved some like okay, like a transportation of kid abductee, or like narcotics, or illegal firearm dealing between different states, and okay, or it could be a crime that occurred in a federal land, land owned by federal government. Okay, again, I have not practiced criminal law, but maybe in the future I do not know. Okay, so I do not know too much about it. Okay, but I just have general knowledge about it because I've been attorney for 8 years. Okay, now 5 minutes right for correct. Time check now. Okay, it's been less than 1 hour. Yeah, 5 minutes right. Thank you. All right. Okay. So there's multiple level of vetting process to evaluate if this situation rise to the level of criminality or not. Okay, so the first filter is the people, okay, witnesses or victims of potential crimes who are also witnesses themselves. Like, should I call 911 or what? Is it a serious incident? Or was it just two guys, practicing martial arts, for example, kind of informal setting, like at the parking lot? Okay, welcome, welcome. Yeah, good evening. Mighty Profit Traders. Yeah, martial arts, education, and cultural development. Thank you. Okay. Oh, proof life. Yeah, Mighty Profit Traders. Yeah, martial arts, education, and cultural development. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Good evening. We are talking about like the continuing legal education. Okay. Yeah. Good evening. So let's say some incident happens. Okay, maybe in the parking lot of a bar, two guys, they're just maybe practicing martial arts or just right. Yeah. So it's not a fight, but you know, my birthday is in June. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Okay. I'm 48. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So it's just two guys, like what horse playing, okay, like maybe practice martial arts or just at the back of some bar, like not fighting, but maybe they're just goofing around, like some kicking, punching, but it's not a fight. Maybe just simulated fighting a little bit, okay. The back parking lot of some bar. Maybe some people saw it, witnesses, okay. And let's say these two guys, okay, punched each other a little bit, but a little bit hard punch, okay, and so maybe some bruise a little bit, but not serious injury. So and witness saw it, okay, and the other guy said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, maybe the punch was a little bit too hard. I apologize, I'm sorry." So okay, so it's not a crime, okay. So the witness saw that. So yeah, should I call 911? No, I don't think so. I don't think it was that bad. Okay. So witnesses evaluate whether to call 911 or not. There's a force filter, force vetting process, okay? To evaluate whether the situation is criminal or not. Is it serious? And then in some another situation, let's say these two guys are actually fighting over a lady. Maybe one of them ex-girlfriend, second one current, one of them ex-boyfriend, and second one current boyfriend. They met in a bar and they're drunk and they're like, yeah, hey, let's go to the parking lot and let's fight. And let's say some serious injury happened, okay? Some witness called the 911, okay, because this guy is seriously hurt. Okay? So then police officers come, okay? Now, the second vetting process, second filtering is police officers, okay? They will evaluate the situation and then they will decide whether to just let it go or arrest, make an arrest, and write formal police report. So it's their call, police officers now. Yeah, they interview witnesses and including these two guys who went to fight, if they are still there, okay? and if they are still alive. Okay, so they interview them. Okay, interview witnesses, and they record it. Sometimes with video, sometimes audio only. Okay, and they evaluate the situation. Is this a crime or not? That happens also in some verbal altercation too. Okay, like domestic situation, domestic violence. Okay, if it's just verbal altercation, many times police officers can counsel them. Okay, hey, do not do this again. Okay, and they let go. Okay, other times, uh, they make arrest and write formal police report, and then pass to the district attorney's office, prosecutors. Okay. Now, vocal rest. Okay. Yeah, 5 minutes break. Okay. Yeah, it's been 1 hour, so I will ventilate the room. Okay. 5 minutes. Okay. Vocal rest. Thank you. Yeah, continue legal education. Okay. But but so some continue legal education here. But there's another consideration though. Okay, like in reality, in real world, look, people are busy. Okay, so some witnesses, yeah, potential crime here, but I'm gonna just pass by, drive by, walk by because I'm busy and I'm tired, and I do not want to be involved. I do not want to be called as a witnesses to some criminal trial. So I'm not gonna call 911. Okay, I just pass by, drive by. Okay, so that happens sometimes. Okay, in real world. Okay. Okay. Now, next level, police officers. They're busy too. Okay. Realistically speaking, okay. So they're dealing with a lot of cases. Okay. So they have to prioritize. Okay. So if this potential crime is not too dangerous and not too serious, because they have other criminal cases, police officers that they are dealing with, that is way more dangerous. That takes higher priority. But this may be misdemeanor, maybe infraction, but there are some more the serious criminal cases that I need to deal with as police officers. Okay, so this is not too dangerous situation. Okay, so I'm gonna have to let it go. Okay, so both like witness, citizen level or police officer level, if it's not too serious because they're busy, they can handle so many cases. Okay, so police officers have to make their judgment. They have to prioritize criminal cases because they are humans. Okay, they need to go home and have eat some food, have some sleep. So they have to triage, prioritize cases. Okay, so if this is not too serious, okay, then they sometimes have to let it go. But there are more serious cases they need to focus on, more dangerous cases. Okay, yeah. And next level of vetting process, like filtering, prosecutors. Okay. Uh, some of them are my friends. Okay, so they went to law school. They passed bar exam. Okay, so they got a job as a prosecutor, district attorney. Okay, it could be city, count, some states, city, county, or state level, or federal level. Okay, prosecutors, district attorneys, DAs. Okay, and they deal with a lot of cases. So they also are human beings. They need to sleep. They need to eat food. So they have to prioritize. So if this case is reported to me by police officers, but if it's not too dangerous, not too serious, sometimes they have to let go because there are more serious, more dangerous cases that they have to prioritize, they have to deal with. That's the reality, okay? But if a prosecutor decides to take the case, then what's the next step? We talked about infraction, then misdemeanor, and felony, right? Infraction, uh, police officers deal with it, okay? Yeah, traffic ticket, okay? Parking ticket, stoplight ticket, red light ticket, the traffic signal, okay? Or maybe some minor overspeeding tickets, okay? Yeah, prosecutors are not involved in some of those infraction level cases, just speeding ticket, paying fine, okay? No jail time, okay? Unless they're like repeat offenders or they refuse to pay the fine, then you may rise to misdemeanor level, okay? In some cases, okay? So, or maybe they just do not pay the fine again, these repeat offenders, then it may rise to misdemeanor level and they go to jail for it, okay? Up to like 1 year, something like that, okay? So, yeah. And yes, then prosecutors are involved, misdemeanor case, okay? So in misdemeanor case, like up to 1 year in jail, prison, or like fine, penalty of like between 1,000 to $3,000, something like that. Okay, depending on the states. Okay, so, and also depending on years. Okay, what's the next step? So prosecutor taking misdemeanor case. Okay, fine is very focalized. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Uh, Okay, so misdemeanor cases, it does not go to grand jury mostly. Okay, what is grand jury? Okay, about 16 to 22 citizens. Okay, they are not attorneys typically. Okay, and they are not police officers typically. Okay, they are citizens like with common sense. Okay, uh, they are the fourth level of vetting, filtering to see whether there was crime or not. Okay, basically. Okay, they only deal with felony level crimes. They do not deal with misdemeanor. Okay, misdemeanor is like not as serious as felony crime. Okay, so a grand jury is not typically not involved in misdemeanor cases. Okay, so prosecutor, if they take this case, misdemeanor case, like less than 1 year prison sentence, okay, uh, they write a complaint, okay, based on this police officer's reports, okay, and then let's say, okay, so we have this criminal suspect, okay, so in jail, temporarily in jail, okay, and then so based on police report, prosecutor writes this criminal complaint and submit to the judge, trial court, okay, and because they already have criminal suspect in jail temporarily, okay, uh, the next step is what's called arraignment, okay, like in TV shows, right? Like Law and Order, American TV show, right? Hollywood. Okay, so yeah. So what is arraignment? Okay, so this arrested individual in jail, city jail, county jail, state jail, federal jail, whatever. Okay, so is now called to the court before judge, and judge read the charge. Okay, misdemeanor case. Okay, so you're accused of committing this misdemeanor minor crime, felony major crime. Okay, we are talking about misdemeanor. Okay, minor crime. So judge read, honorable judge on the bench read this criminal charge to this criminal accused individual in court. Okay, so yeah, this is what you are accused of. Okay, maybe battery, assault. Okay, it could be former boyfriend or current boyfriend in fighting in the parking lot, maybe both of them, okay, but you have to be separate trial though, because you cannot have more than, well, it has to be separate trial, okay. So typically a criminal trial, uh, one defendant, okay. It could be some other setting, but whatever, okay. Again, I do not know the details, okay, because my criminal law practice is extremely limited, okay. So, but I just know in generality, okay. Okay, so let's say ex-boyfriend out of jealousy, yeah, punched and kicked this current boyfriend in the back of bar's parking lot, okay? So it's also 10 battery case, okay? So the judge read, okay, this is what you're charged with, accused of, okay? But it's misdemeanor, it's not felony, okay? The victim, some bruises, but no broken bones, okay? Maybe some bleeding here and there, some bruises, okay? Yeah, so yeah, you're accused of this battery assault, okay? And like, can you afford to hire some private sector criminal defense attorney, can you afford? Or if not, yeah, some government employee, public defender, who are lawyers. Okay, some of my friends are public defenders too. Some of my friends also like private sector criminal defense attorneys too. Okay, I have a lot of lawyer friends in Alaska. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, you're right. Okay, you're criminal accused of assault and battery. If you can afford an attorney, then yeah, you can hire an attorney, or you can represent yourself. Or if you're an attorney and you cannot pay for them, yeah, then public defender, the governmental employees, so taxpayers. Okay. Yeah, welcome. Good evening. We're talking continuing education, continuing legal education. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, 5 minutes break for class. Okay, thank you. My professors, yeah, martial education. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. 5 minutes for class. Yeah, martial education. Yeah, my professors. 5 minutes for class. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, so of course, before all that, when police officer arrest this individual from the parking lot, back parking lot of a bar, uh, they are supposed to and typically do Miranda warning. Okay, when they put this guy in a handcuff, then police back to the police car. Yeah, Miranda warning. Okay, it's U.S. Supreme Court case. Okay, so yeah, you have right to silence, and anything that you say to me can be used against you. Okay, so and you're right to silence. Okay, that's what amendment is. Like Fifth Amendment or something. Take fifth. Okay, so you're right to silence, and uh, yeah, you can hire an attorney, or if you cannot afford an attorney, yeah, the government can provide public defense attorney for you. Okay, so Miranda warning. Okay, yeah. Okay. So during the arraignment, okay, it's the very first arraignment, okay, very in front of judge, courtroom, okay. So maybe this defendant, criminal suspect, maybe is with the attorney already during the oral argument, okay? Mm-hmm. It could be public defender or private sector, criminal defense attorney, okay? And then judge asked this misdemeanor case, okay, defendant, yeah, I like, do you plead guilty or not guilty or no contest? No contender, okay? That's Latin term, okay? Yeah, with some advice of attorneys, defense attorney, or alone, whatever, okay? What is no contest? It's like you okay, I just go along, okay, it's like guilty plea, okay, but I'm not admitting anything, okay, but I just pretend as if I'm guilty. So no trial, okay, it's just, but I'm not admitting the guilt. So it's kind of half in between no guilty, not guilty, and guilty, okay, so there's no content there. It's like I'm not protesting anything, uh, no contest plea, okay, yeah, half in between, okay, so I'm not admitting I did this, but I just do not want to go through trial, so I just pretend I'm guilty. Okay, so there's no contest plea. Okay. Yeah, I'm wealthy, so I just pay the fine and get it over with. Okay, so but I'm not saying I'm admitting my guilt, though. Okay, there's no contest plea. Okay. So if the defendant plead guilty or no contest, no trial. Okay, this person may go to jail, prison for up to like 1 year, or pay the fine, like or both, like $1,000, $2,000, whatever. Okay, so no trial. Okay, but if the defendant plead guilty, no guilty, not guilty, then it goes to trial. Okay, during the trial, yeah, the defendant can waive the jury trial, so it could be just bench trial, judge trial. Okay, but still open to public though. Okay. Criminal trials, they're open to public, okay? Yeah, in the courtroom, okay? But if defendant do not waive their jury trial rights, okay, then jury trial. Now put it jury, okay? The jurors typically are like 12 people, okay? And before the trial, they go through discovery process, like pre-trial where prosecutor and defense attorney exchange some data. Pre-trial discovery process, okay? And prosecutor or defense attorneys or both, yeah, make some motions. What is motion? They're writing this paper asking the judge to make some rulings. Okay, it could be motion to dismiss, motion to change venue, okay, motion to exclude evidence, okay, and judge sometimes make rulings or sometimes some oral argument, some hearings, pre-trial hearings, okay, to invite both parties, okay, attorneys, and make some oral argument. Before that, yeah, yeah, like motion or reply to the motion, like objection to the motion, and then reply to the objection, okay. And but it's not quite convincing, so some evidentiary hearing, whatever hearing, okay, give them chance to make some oral argument, okay, in front of in the court, okay. So okay, yeah, pre-trial hearings, okay. Now, how much time do you have left? It's a lot, right? Yeah. There's 40 minutes left. Okay, that's why people go to law school. Okay, because this is a lot. Okay, we're just talking about misdemeanor cases. Okay, in criminal law. Yeah, that's why people go to law school to become a lawyer. Okay, this is a lot. Okay, so finance back for correct. Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, but let's go back before arraignment in misdemeanor case. Okay, okay, so the defendant maybe higher attorney, okay, maybe public defense defender, government employee, or private sector criminal defense attorney, okay, and or just alone talking to prosecutor, okay. It's kind of like settlement conference in civil setting, okay, but in criminal setting, I don't know I do not know what it's called, okay, maybe plea bargain conference, okay, and prosecutor may say, hey, let's make it easy instead of going to trial, let's just have a deal, like plea bargain. Okay. If you prosecutor talking to defense attorney or the defendant or both, okay, yeah, if you plead guilty or no contest, yeah, instead of 11 months in prison, we'll reduce it to 6 months or 3 months, 5 months negotiation. Okay, plea bargain. Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, defendant may agree to with and defense attorney too may agree with the prosecutor's proposal, maybe negotiate back and forth. Well, 6 months, how about 5 months instead? Okay. And then the arraignment, okay, in front of the judge, honorable judge, okay, the court, okay, during arraignment, yeah, I plead guilty or no contest, because the prosecutor agreed the recommended sentence would be not 11 months, but it would be like 5 months instead, okay, so. And the judge has a some what was the discretion, okay? Yeah, well, so judge does not have to take that recommended sentencing suggested by prosecutor. So judge has some discretion, okay? Well, so prosecutor said, well, 5 months? No, I don't think so. 7 months instead, okay? So judge have that discretion of sentencing. Okay, so even though prosecutor and the defendant or defendant's attorney agreed, yeah, it has to be 5 months, but judge does not have to take it. Judge may say, well, 5 months, actually 4 months instead, or 7 months instead. Okay, so judge have that discretion when it comes to sentencing, even after plea bargain. Okay. Hmm. But if the defendant and defendant attorneys uh, plead plead no guilty, not guilty, and then they go ahead with the trial. It could be bench trial, like judge trial, without any jurors, or it could be jury trial. Okay, juries, jurors, yeah, there's citizens. Okay, yeah, okay, and during the pre-trial, before the trial, okay, they may renegotiate. So defendant still have that choice. Yeah, well, me and my defense attorneys, we changed our mind. Okay, so yeah, we plead guilty or no contest. Okay, and prosecutor may say, come and say, okay, so we originally we suggested like 5 months, but now what? Are you okay with 5 months, or you want to negotiate to like 4 months, 3 months? Okay, yeah. So during pre-trials process, yeah, they can still have time to renegotiate and settle the case. Okay, they're allowed to. And if they agree, yeah, then the defense attorney or pro se defendant, meaning this defendant is representing himself or herself. Okay, yeah, write a motion to change plea. Okay, yeah, instead of not guilty, yeah, guilty or no contest. Okay, yeah, and the prosecutor agreed to 5 months in prison, or maybe $1,500 fine, or both. Okay, and then the honorable judge may say, well, 4 months, $1,500. It could be too low or too high. Okay, so judge have discretion to modify it. Okay, so and then criminal defendant. Well, you know what? Actually, I talked to my attorney, or I thought just all by myself. I want a trial. Okay. But to do that, this criminal defendant or defense attorneys and they to write a motion for court approval, and it could be denied. In that case, they can appeal that case to higher level, appellate level, yeah, the court of appeal. It could be state level or federal level, okay? Mostly state level, okay? Yeah, court of appeal. In Alaska, court of appeal only deal with criminal cases. Like civil cases, appeal when they want to appeal the trial court decision, civil cases they straightly go to Alaska State Supreme Court, okay? But in criminal cases, there's intermediate like appellate court. They only deal with criminal appeal case. If the defendant is still not satisfied with their ruling, appellate court level, then they can go to appeal to Alaska State Supreme Court case. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 5 minutes break. We'll call okay. 잠시만요. We have less than 30 minutes left. Okay. Yeah. 5 minutes. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Now let's go to felony cases. Okay. Well, in felony cases, it's a more serious crime. Okay. So in federal cases, by Fifth Amendment, United States Constitution, okay, grand jury proceeding is required. Okay, so federal felony cases, okay, grand jury is required. Okay, so federal prosecutor, right, what's called a proposed indictment. It's not a complaint, okay, but that's what it's called. Proposed indictment, okay, based on police reports, okay, federal cases. So yeah, proposed indictment. It's like criminal complaint. Okay, so there's some police report. Okay, so they submit to grand jurors between like 16 to 22 people, more than 12. Okay, and grand jurors examine it. Okay, and then call some witnesses, like subpoena witnesses. Yeah, please, witnesses come to this grand jury room. Okay, and then maybe submit some documents, please, or tell us what happened. In some big complicated cases, it may take days. Okay, so grand jury investigation. Okay, they are common citizens. Okay, Yeah, they're not attorneys typically. They're not police officers typically. Okay, so grand jurors. Okay? Yeah, and then they take some witnesses' testimonies and review some documents. Okay, and they make decision. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so federal prosecutor submitted to us proposed indictment. It's like complaint. Okay, uh, is it true or not? If they say, if they decide, okay, so grand jurors, like let's say like 16 people, okay, if more than half of them agree, it's like a jury trial, criminal jury trial. Many times it has to be unanimous consent between 12 people, okay? But in grand jury, it's not a trial, it's a proceeding, okay? More than half of them need to agree to indict this person. It's not a guilty verdict yet, okay? It's called indictment, okay? So if they, based on all this evidence presented by witnesses and prosecutors, or police officers, witnesses, okay? But in grand jury proceeding, uh, defense attorneys are not invited. Defendant typically not invited. Okay, so it's kind of one-sided. Okay, that's just how it is. Okay, so if more than half of grand jurors think this proposed indictment is true, then they sign it. Okay, and they call it a true bill. If not, no bill. Okay, it's their jargon, it's their lingo, their language that they, or there's this mosquito here. Let me get this mosquito, okay? Ah! Oh, I did not get it. Let me get this mosquito, okay? Yeah, I did get it. Well, that's criminal right there, okay? The blood stealing mosquito. Let me discard this. Yeah, I just gave this blood stealing insect mosquito a death sentence, okay, without any trial. But I do not think any animal rights advocates would object to this because mosquitoes, they're not endangered species, okay? I'm sorry, I have to make that joke, okay? So, because human school, okay? So, that's a fine mistake for us, okay? Thank you. Time check. 10 minutes left, okay? Yeah, it will take 3 minutes break instead, okay? Thank you. Right. Oh yes, we have to hurry up. Okay. So yeah. We got less than 10 minutes left. Okay. So but I still need to do my hair do. Okay. So uh, to make higher quality presentation. Okay. So now, okay. So felony case. Okay. Federal felony case. They by Fifth Amendment, U.S. Constitution, they have to grand jury. Okay, go to grand jury. Okay. So if grand jury think by probable cause, like 30% likelihood, okay. Yeah, okay, it's proposed indictment by federal prosecutor. Yeah, it's okay, 30% more yeah, this is probable cause, okay. About 30% maybe true, okay, so then they sign for true bill. Otherwise, no bill. No, it cannot be true. Okay, yeah. So no bill, then case is dropped. Case ends there. Federal or state prosecutors, they cannot appeal to appellate courts like in federal case like circuit courts. Okay, they don't have right to do that. Case ends there. But if the grand jurors say, "Oh, it's true bill," okay, more than 30% likelihood, okay, probable cause. Yeah, so true bill, they signed off on it, and then more than 50% of grand jurors, okay, and then yeah, then this so-called proposed indictment written by prosecutor, federal prosecutor. Okay, it's kind of mostly copy and paste. It becomes what's called information. It's their jargon. Okay, in criminal law. Okay, it's basically a complaint. Okay, yeah, accusing this person of some alleged crimes and the statutes, federal statutes violation, okay, and so yeah, that's the legal document that they submit to the federal judge, okay, in federal U.S. federal court, okay. But before that grand jurors proceeding, this forced arraignment, before the grand jury proceeding, forced arraignment, basically like a federal judge reading the charge to the criminal defendant, okay, and that pre-grand jurors proceeding the first arraignment, okay, initial arraignment. Uh, this defendant who potentially committed federal felonious crime does not have to plead guilty or not guilty, not yet. Okay, we are talking about felony, federal felony. Okay, who has to go to indictment process by grand jurors. Okay, so before grand jurors proceeding, there's this forced arraignment, okay, where the judge, federal judge, read the charge to the criminal defendant in courtroom, okay? But the defendant doesn't have to plead, plead guilty or not guilty or no contest, not yet, okay? Just reading the charge, what you are accused of doing, having done, okay? But you don't have to plead guilty or not guilty, no contest, not yet, okay? Because grand jurors may just dismiss this case, okay? It's too early for that, okay? So, but after grand juror, if they decide this is true bill, yeah, more than 30% likelihood, yeah, probable cause, okay. And then after true bill indictment by grand jurors, yeah, prosecutors kind of copy and paste, modify, okay, yeah, now it's no longer proposed indictment document. Now it's called information document. Okay. It's the language that they use. Okay. So and then federal prosecutor submit to the judge, federal judge. Okay. U.S. District Court. Okay. Yeah. So information. Okay. So yeah, grand jurors indicted this individual. Now information document to the judge. Okay. And then second arraignment after the grand jurors indictment. Okay. Yeah. So this defendant come to courtroom before the judge. Now that's the time when the defendant or his or her defense attorneys. Now they have to say, do you plead guilty or not guilty or no contest? So there's a second arraignment. Okay. Mm-hmm. How about state cases, state felony cases? Do we have time for that today? We got like 10 minutes left. Okay, so more than 10 minutes left. We got 12 minutes left. Okay, so 2 minutes break. Okay, vocal rest. Thank you. Well, how about a joke? Some comedic relief, okay? Here I am, kind of a little bit intoxicated, a little bit under influence, and then I'm giving a lecture about criminal law, okay? It's not illegal to do this, but maybe it would decrease the likelihood of me getting a law professor job in the future, okay? I have to make this joke, okay? How many minutes do we have left? Well, 5 minutes. Actually, more than 10 minutes, okay? Okay, let's continue, okay? So we talked about federal felony cases, the grand jurors. Okay, they have to go through it by Fifth Amendment in U.S. Constitution. Okay, but in state cases, state felony cases, it's just slightly different. Okay, okay. So in state felony cases, uh, it depends on states. Okay, they have grand jurors, state level felony cases. Okay, and they also have what's called preliminary hearing, or in Alaska cases, preliminary examination. What is it? Yeah, so grand jurors, they're citizens, okay, and to examine whether this case need to go to trial or not. Does it have probable cause? Well, maybe it's not that serious, okay, maybe no trial. Yeah, the defendant go free, walk out of prison, okay, jail, okay. Prison is after this defender is convicted, okay, actually serving the sentence. Jail, temporary confinement, okay. So states, it depends on states, okay. So they some states have grand jurors, state level, okay, for felony crimes, state level felony crimes, okay. Some other states have both grand jurors system and also preliminary hearing or preliminary examination. Preliminary hearing, preliminary examination, they are conducted by the judge, not grand jurors. Okay? Even in one state, depending on counties or boroughs, it depends, okay? And prosecutors sometimes have choice. Should we go to with the grand jurors, grand jury proceeding, or with common citizens, okay, grand jurors, okay, or should we go with the judge, like preliminary hearings, preliminary examination for the judge, trial court judge, state level to decide whether this case is probable cause, like 30%, more than 30% likelihood whether crime happened, also whether this defendant committed that crime based on some documentary evidence, witnesses, police officers, testimonies in the courtroom. And that one is public. Grand jury proceeding is not public event. It's a closed room, okay. But in preliminary hearing or preliminary examination in Alaska, okay, in front of judge is open courtroom. And yes, defendant and defendant's attorneys, if they have one, they are also invited. And they can cross-examine witnesses. Okay. Yeah. So that's state level felony cases. They can go through the route of grand jury proceeding, closed room. Okay. Yeah, where defendant or defendant attorney, defense attorneys are not invited. Okay, and even not even allowed to be there. Okay. But witnesses, yeah, subpoena. Okay. Prosecutor, of course. Okay. Or preliminary hearing, preliminary examination. That's open courtroom. Yeah, anybody can participate as an audience. Defendants, defense attorneys, yeah, they are there. They can testify, cross-examine witnesses, present their own evidence. Okay. So for felony cases, they have to go through that extra layer of vetting, filtering to see whether this because a serious charge, potentially serious crime. So there's this extra layer of protection. Okay. For the defendant, because this defendant may go to prison for a long time. Okay. So those are the constitutional protection for criminally accused defendants in felony cases. Okay. Because sometimes innocent people get accused of crimes that they never committed. It happens because people are people, we make mistakes, right? Yeah. So they are doing their best in just criminal justice system, even extra layer of protection for criminally accused defendants. Yeah, so at least in America, it's like that. Okay. Mhm. Now back to the gentleman in Petersburg, Alaska. Okay, so I read in the news. Okay, federal prosecutors convened grand jurors. So it must be a felony case. Okay, because grand jurors are involved. So it has to be felony case. Okay. Okay. It's up to grand jurors in Alaska. Okay. They may indict this gentleman in Petersburg, Alaska. I read in the news, maybe civil rights violation, okay, trying to deceive Alaskan voters in federal election, US Senate election in this year, okay. Maybe they can have a merit, okay. So it's up to the grand jurors to indict that gentleman or not. Okay, now time check. 1 minute left. 3 minutes, 2 minutes left. Okay, thank you. But yeah, civil rights violation, deceiving the voters. That's the charge he's facing, okay? But is it a felony level or misdemeanor level? But I guess they charge him with felony, okay? Federal felony, okay? Uh, I'm not a criminal law attorney. In my past 8 years, 99.99% cases, civil law, okay? So I do not know too much about criminal law, okay? I have just general idea, okay? But my impression is that even if arguendo, for the sake of argument, he tried to deceive voters in federal election, I, uh, my impression to me is that it doesn't rise to the level of felony, maybe misdemeanor. That's my impression. Okay, I think it's a little bit too harsh. Okay? I may be wrong. Okay, but I'm being honest. Okay, I'm not a criminal law attorney. Okay, so maybe their case have merit. Okay, but it sounds to me a little bit too overstressed. Okay, a little bit harsher. Okay, felony, federal felony, maybe federal misdemeanor, maybe. Okay, or maybe he's innocent. Okay, it's been 2 hours. Okay, so I see you next time. Okay, thank you. Yeah.